All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to today's webinar on Integrate CMS Content into Lightning Communities with CMS Connect. Thank you for joining. We're very excited to share this information with you today. I'm Nisha Bakshi, and I'm on the developer marketing team here at Salesforce. Today, we're joined by Shipra Shreyasi, an engineer in the Community Cloud team, who's been working on building a first-class product in CMS Connect implementation, and also by Jagdish Madilla, who is a full-stack web application engineer currently based out of Hyderabad, India. They'll be speaking about the benefits of bringing Community Cloud into your organization and give you an insider's view on how you can streamline your development lifecycle by adopting Community Cloud. Just as a reminder, everyone has been muted. If you have a question, please ask it in the question window of GoToWebinar. We will try to get to every question either individually or aloud during the Q&A session at the end. Before I begin, just a quick note that when considering future developments, whether by us or by any other solution provider, you should always base your purchasing decisions on products and features that are currently available. Also, when we want to be social, please keep the conversation going on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and use the hashtag #SalesforceDevs in all of your posts. And with that, we're ready to get started with today's session, Integrate CMS Content into Lightning Communities with CMS Connect.
Hi, I'm Shipra, and agenda of today's session is deep dive into CMS Connect feature. CMS Connect helps you display content from third-party external content management system in your Salesforce Lightning communities in a secured and performant way. This capability allows your CMS and communities to coexist without duplicating your content management processes and have same branding experience in communities without having to recreate the content. CMS Connect can pull content from pretty much any CMS provider, including Adobe Experience Manager, WordPress, Drupal, Sitecore, STL as few examples. We have built two types of connectors, HTML and JSON. CMS Connect HTML connector helps to bring fully rendered HTML web content like header, footer, banner into communities. It's rendered via URL, and content having cross-origin resource sharing enabled is brought real-time client-side. Architecture is built on HTML and HTTP standards, so it's not a provider-specific connector. The way it works is you provide public CMS server information in CMS setting, and during client-side rendering, XHR call is done to get the content. We provide a way of injecting external JavaScripts and style sheets associated with the HTML into communities by passing it through Locker Service. Locker Service is a powerful security feature for Lightning component, which helps prevent component from causing excesses and other similar security issues. Through the HTML connector, we also support rendering personalized content from Adobe Experience Manager by exchanging client contexts between communities and AM. Coming to CMS Connect JSON connector, it provides a way of bringing external CMS content data like blogs, articles, files, news into communities using JSON API, and we provide presentation capabilities for building the UI for it. Architecture consists of providing pre-built layouts, and JSON data is retrieved through client-side XHR data provider for public content, bound to layout using JSON data binder, and rendered in communities. For authenticated content, call out to external system is made through a server-side proxy. Moving to the demo, handing it over to Jagdish for a demo of CMS Connect HTML.
Thank you, Shipra, for a brief overview on CMS Connect HTML and JSON feature as a whole. This demo, I'm going to cover CMS Connect HTML, and followed by Shipra going to cover his JSON part of it. And in HTML, I'm going to split it into two parts. One is like bringing external CMS content as such, like HTML header, footer, and banner. And then I move on to Lightning interaction with within component, CMS component, as well as between CMS component as well as custom component, and interacting with Lightning global events. Okay, let me start with creating a connection. Before going there, I would like to go on to AEM, how to show like how the structure being designed there. So I have created, I mean, for this demo, we have created a page in an AEM system wherein it's with the static pages. So let's see. This is a Capricorn is the one where we created, and I'm going to the index.html, that is main page. And you see this is like a folder structure like any other web application. And then you see like this page has three different parts of it. One is header, and then other one is footer, and other one has main in it, main.html. So each part of it as a service. So that returns returns the fragment of the header, main, and footer as well. So if I open the page in this is an AEM page. This is a page from AEM. You can see like there's a header part of it wherein you see product, services, customer menu, and then you see at the bottom there's a footer part of it, and then and then body of it. So this is where it is. Now I'm going to, while creating a connection, there is so you have to be ready, like we call this part as a relative URL path, and then till 450 we call it as a host name. So why? Because while defining a connection, we need these details. And one more thing, to bring out like localized content like English and French, in AEM we can say like we can create a folder called EN, and then you put everything that's specific to English locale, and then you create a folder called French. You can put everything in the respect to, I mean, everything in a French, I mean, every content in a French. For this demo, we are using AEM as I said, like, but this would be the structure everywhere, anywhere, any CMS system provides. And then I'm jump on to creating a connection. So I already created a connection to make it easier for us. So I'm just loading the existing connection. You see, this is a server URL, as I said, and then I come back to root path and these things. This is the root path is like if you take it in a system, there will be some path which is a common across all fragments, like header, footer, and HTML, that those are put in same folder. So we can give a root path to which it is very common, and then you see is language is a placeholder wherein dynamically based on Salesforce language. So this been replaced. I will show you. You come back, go down. There's a language mapping section where you can select what is a Salesforce language and what is the corresponding CMS language. And as well as so this is a CMS language is nothing but external CMS system, that's English for us. And then Salesforce language for French, it is FR, which is there in AEM, what just now showed. And coming back to the CSS section, so every page would be, I mean, any HTML page or any UI page will have a behind the CSS, but there are chances like a scope field is nothing but like there are chances like there is a collision can happen. Your CSS class could be collide with Salesforce CSS class or any other class, in fact. So to avoid that, you can scope your CSS classes within this, and then what happens is this specific CSS being applied only for your fragments. And similar to the scripts, it is same thing. It's a script which are required to load the page, and loading of the script, I mean, you can add multiple scripts up to 10, and then loading of the scripts also matters. So whenever you design a page, make sure they are properly ordered the way you want to be here. And then now this is pretty much when we create a connection. Now I'm moving on to the builder part of it. If you come back to the builder, in any Lightning community, there were three sections of the builder. One is header and footer and body. Why I'm telling about header is you can go to advanced settings here, and then select CMS Connect, and then you can say straight away what is my header content, what is my footer path. In the sense, not a content, it's a path. It's like server URL plus root path plus component path. Here it is a header.html or footer.html. So what happens is at the runtime, when browser loads the community, it will load the header and footer. So that's why we given it here, so that header and footer will be loaded first, and then body of the template will be, community will be loaded later. Now, I'm closing out, and then I come back to, I will drop another main content of the page. I select CMS Connect HTML. I drop onto the section, and then CMS source Capricorn is the site which just created, and then here it is nothing but main.html. This is the one, so I'm using the same thing. And then you see like the body but HTML fragment being loaded from external CMS system to here, and then now I publish the community. Now so I open it. Here we go. This is the page, and on top of it, we don't cache any of the content. Every time on user request, we pull the content from the external CMS system, so it's always live. And if you change anything on CMS system, it will be reflected here. So you write once and then use it, reuse the same content. That's what the actual. That's what that been trying to achieve here. And now I'm moving on to Lightning interaction. Now let's take back. This is the page which I developed in AIM. So here, like we want the page to be interact more with other components in the page, or mostly like mostly we want to interact with other components in the page. Let's take an example here. Let's say sign up page on this sign up link on this page. We want this to be open differently for, the sign up page will open when it is in AIM context. It should open in the AIM page. And if it is in Lightning context, it should, if it is in community context, it should open community sign up page. So here I click on sign up page. So it's just to demo. So I thought of showing like, this is the sign up page from AIM. So you can see like URL being changed to sign up HTML. So this HTML page is purely from AIM. So now come back to Lightning community page, wherein if you tap and sign up page, I expect like it will go to community page within a Salesforce. Sign up page within a Salesforce. This is how it is. So how it happens is Lightning community. Let me open up a diagram so that's more easy for. So this is like if you take it, when you draw a CMS component in Lightning community page, what happens is the context, it will be behind JS and HTML will be loaded within a custom namespace. So why I'm saying custom namespace is, custom namespace means because any custom component developed by customer or user can talk to CMS Connect component through JavaScript, and at the same time, this CMS Connect component can talk to Lightning event. That's what I'm doing here. If I go back to my builder page, so I have created a page called sign up page. That's what, when user tap on, sorry, it's loading. Yeah, when user taps on sign up, so I am redirecting user to the sign up page. So you can interact with the Lightning in any component, custom component developed, or you can interact through Lightning events. That's very much possible with CMS Connect. That's what we are trying to say. That's pretty much on CMS Connect HTML. Now I am handing over to Shipra to continue on CMS Connect JSON.
Okay, thanks, Jagdish. For JSON connector demo, I'm going to bring in blocks from a Capricorn website. So this is just a hypothetical website. You can use any of your site for this. And it has a bunch of blocks on coffee hosted on WordPress. And I want to display these blocks in Lightning community for more customer engagement and information sharing. As you can notice, these blocks are getting displayed in a community, which is done using CMS Connect JSON feature. We provide two types of UI layout for showing the JSON data, content list and content item. Using content list layout, you can show multiple blocks in a grid layout along with pagination support. Using content item, you can show detail of a single block which can be displayed by clicking on Read More on a block card. Before using the feature, there are a few prerequisites, like you need to have cards enabled if the resource is made to be not accessible to external sites like our Salesforce community. Get the JSON URL for retrieving content. Here are a few examples on how to get from WordPress. I'm going to focus on WordPress as an example CMS system. However, information translates well to any CMS provider that supports JSON APIs for retrieving the content, like Drupal or AEM. If the site is based on WP REST API, you can use WP JSON to get the content. If it's based on WordPress.com, use public API WordPress.com format. For this site example, JSON URL to get the content is this, which is added by appending the site in this link. And it's also helpful to preview your JSON response before using the URL to understand the data format of your CMS system. Now that you're ready to configure CMS Connect JSON, let's see step by step on how to use the feature. To set this up in Community Workspace, click on CMS Connect tile, create a connection, enter name, select CMS source as WordPress for this example, connection type as public. For getting server URL, convention used is JSON API is divided into two parts, server URL, which is hostname, and remaining is JSON path. Provide the server URL, enter the connection detail by going to the JSON section, click on Add JSON, enter JSON type name, which is used for grouping the content, create a content list and item by providing JSON path, which is relative to the server URL, and click on Save. Next, move to Community Builder. There are two components exposed, CMS Connect HTML and CMS Connect JSON. Use the CMS Connect JSON and drag and drop onto any page where you want the content to be displayed. In the property editor, select the CMS source, enter JSON name of JSON content, enter JSON expression for start node of the content. For grid layout, you can specify pagination related fields like item per page and per column. In card layout, provide a mapping between component layout fields and JSON field of the payload. What that means is going to the JSON viewer of the payload, title of the blog is mapped to title field of the JSON payload. Expression syntax used here is based on JSON pointer specification. And I'll show you a snapshot of using the feature. Like this is a snapshot analysis of JSON response payload and JSON expression for each field. Like author is author/name, title is title. Going back to the property editor, that provides the JSON field mapping by prepending it with @, which is a convention to indicate that it's a JSON expression. Likewise, you can define other mappings. Clicking on Save here in Builder Component Instance will automatically create a CMS detail page auto-configured for the JSON type. So with a few simple steps, you're able to bring the content from WordPress. Moving to Authentication Support. There are content which are not public and behind certain authentication protocol. Like this website on WordPress, when you try to access the JSON payload using WP JSON REST API, it gives an authentication error as content access is behind OAuth. To use this endpoint using CMS Connect JSON, first step is to create a name credential from Salesforce setup. An identified type will be name principal for this example, which is admin control and it's not per user based. Choose authentication protocol as OAuth 2.0 and configure authentication provider for it, which is having the consumer key and secret based on the WordPress OAuth URL of the website. Then coming to community workspace, you can create the CMS connection, select the connection type as authenticated, and select the name credential which was created in the Salesforce setup from the pick list. Rest of the steps remain same as what I showed you earlier for a public connection. In Communities Builder, after defining the component properties in this way, you can bring authenticated content from WordPress. And so using point and click declaration of the CMS Connect JSON component, you can bring any external content in communities. For authentication, we also provide support for username password-based authentication, which you can specify in the authentication protocol as password authentication. If you want public content to go through server-side, say to bypass cost restriction, you can use name credential as anonymous and configure REST part in a similar fashion. Next, I'm going to demo flow related to content discovery, as being able to search and find content is very crucial. Content shown in CMS detail page in our Lightning community has search engine optimization, SEO support. So it will get indexed for online search engines like Google, Bing, so that your community users or guest users can easily discover the content via online searches. You can also search for this content in communities using the global search. As a user, say I want to search the blogs related to latte. So I would go to the global search into the search term as latte. And in this case, the search result, there is a new tab called WordPress blog, which shows all the blogs pulled from WordPress having the word latte. This is achieved through federated search. Since the content that is brought through CMS Connect is not stored in Salesforce and is pulled dynamically from external system, it won't show up in standard searches by default unless you configure federated search. Salesforce has a built-in support for doing that in an easy way. Federated search is based on Open Search Protocol, and most CMS systems have support for it. You need to get Open Search description, which is the OSD URL of the content hosted in external system. Like for this website, if you just go to the view page source and search for Open Search, you'll get the OSD URL. Next, go to external data source in Salesforce setup. Create a source by using type as federated search, open search, and provide the OSD link from WordPress. Click validate and sync to complete the connection. That will generate the external object for it, and deploy the object to make it accessible to all external user and guest user. Next, go to community search page. Add this external object in global search component, and it will start showing up in the global search for the community in runtime. CMS systems like WordPress and Drupal have native support for Open Search. For REST systems, hosted search partners like Covio or Docurated can be used. That provides a hosted search service. That's all for the demo. We are now ready to take up the questions.
Okay, the first question is there a Trailhead module that I can go through in order to learn more about CMS Connect?
No, so we don't have a Trailhead module yet for the CMS Connect feature. We have it for the Lightnings, but we are planning that in future.
Great, thank you. This question is for Shipra. What's the support AEM version for CMS Connect? 6.2 and 6.3?
Okay, so the feature is independent of any AEM version. So anything having a HTML URL will work with our feature, and it's not dependent on AEM version. So you can use it for any of your production AEM version.
Great, thank you. This question is for Jagdish. Is it possible to cache slower loading resources or resources that do not move often?
So for now, CMS Connect, the HTML, there is no caching. But for CMS Connect JSON, if you use an authenticated content, then caching is there in place. Because it's a server-side call, we could cache it on server-side. I mean, we could use existing server caching framework. But for client-side HTML, there is no caching.
Great. Another question. I would like to know if CMS Connect can be used with Google Sites. Is that possible?
As I said, like it's not specific to any CMS system. Anything hosted and any service could return me proper HTML markup, then CMS Connect can be used. It is not specific to any exact CMS system. So in that sense, if Google site could return markup, HTML markup the way it's required, then yeah, sure, you can use it.
Great. Jagdish, you mentioned cross-origin resource sharing. If the request is coming from browser to CMS for content, does the CMS need to support CORS?
Okay, CMS content itself uses CORS to access external content. So for that, you have to add Salesforce in your trusted list of hosts in your CORS header in your CMS system.
Thank you. Great. Please. How do you authenticate to CMS?
Okay, CMS itself, HTML, it's a public connection, and there is no authentication behind CMS Connect HTML, wherein CMS Connect JSON, there is an authentication as well as public. So you can use name credential service in Salesforce to authenticate to access authenticated content from external CMS system.
Great. Shipra, can you elaborate on how custom Lightning components integrate with CMS content?
Yeah, so that was covered in the flow where Jagdish was mentioning through the event, you can talk with Lightning components and along with your external system. So we have a support for that using the Lightning event.
Great. What is the best way to incorporate content search engine for content indexing and searching?
I can take this question. Like the Federated Search feature that was demoed at the end helps in the searching in the communities.
Are there examples of using CMS Connect with Contentful?
So as we have not explored Contentful. Probably we explored it, but we don't have an example right away. But as you said, like JSON or HTML can be used as long as there's an endpoint which was returned. Like for HTML, it should return a HTML fragment, and JSON, it should return a response in proper JSON format. As long as that happens, CMS Connect can be used seamlessly. But yeah, we don't have an example of Contentful right away.
Thank you. Can we build custom Lightning components to change the layout in which the CMS JSON responses are displayed?
Yeah, I can take that question. So yeah, we have built the architecture in a flexible way. So we'll be exposing the layouts in coming release, and customer can just write their specific custom components for layout, and that would show up in the pick list for the card layout or for the grid layout, and you can use your custom Lightning component.
Great. How can we enable CMS in Salesforce Classic environment?
This feature is mainly for communities, and it's not yet at the org level, so it's only for communities as of now.
Got it. Do you have a list of all third-party external CMS systems that would work with this besides WordPress and AEM?
Along with that, Drupal and Sitecore we validated, and yeah, that works.
Yeah, and to add something more, like you can try it with any CMS system that provides you way of getting HTML or in the JSON content. So the design is like, it's not any provider specific, so you can try it with any of your CMS provider that provides this capabilities.
Great. Is there support for Websphere Content Manager?
Probably we get back to you, but we don't have an answer right away. Shipra, you have any?
I mean, we need to check into if they have a support for JSON way of getting the content or a way to get individual fragment. We haven't tried with the Websphere yet.
What are best practices for using CMS Connect's AEM personalized content?
Yeah, that's a Okay, there is a documentation available. It's like lengthy. So it's a lengthy answer for that if you ask me, because Salesforce has provided a script which you have to use as a connector in AEM to get the personalized content. So there were steps written there. You have to use that, and then that's an answer from me. But that's probably release notes has more details. Like it's a lengthy answer to give. As I said, like you have to. There is a script given to use in AEM. That is one of the best practice if at all you want to integrate with the CMS Connect the AEM personalization.
Is it possible to show PDF files in CMS Connect?
We never tried that, but probably we never tried that. But please go ahead, Shipra.
Yeah, I'm saying that it will work like any files layout thing. The WordPress has a way of getting all your media files, so it will work with the file types. I mean, you can show the files in a list in the UI and then have a probably download link to download the PDF in communities.
Great. Does the CMS Connect work for any other asset management sites as well that has JSON APIs?
As we said, like any system which returns proper JSON format, that works.
How many types of layouts are available for CMS Connect JSON lists? Is there anything other than grid layout?
For now, only grid layout is allowed. I mean, only grid layout is supported, but we are thinking of providing multiple layouts, but probably for now, only grid layout.
Okay, and this question is for Jagdish. What kind of Lightning event was fired from within the CMS HTML? Did the parent component then just catch the fired event? This is regarding your example.
It could be navigate to URL or create record events can be fired from JavaScript.
Got it. Is this free with Community Cloud?
It's a standard global event of Lightning. Any standard global event of Lightning can be fired from JavaScript of the external CMS system.
Great. For password authentication, does the CMS system need to have SAML or OAuth enabled?
Yeah, so like we support the admin-based thing, and that needs to be enabled.
How can you advise on how best to expose HTML fragments from a Sitecore web page?
Okay, if you ask us like how it can be at Sitecore, probably we are not experts on that, but it's like, as I said, like if as long as service returns any proper markup, CMS can render that. But if you ask a standard practice at Sitecore, we didn't anything specific. Probably anyone in a Sitecore expert can do that. I mean, suggest that.
Yeah, and we did a proof of concept for using Sitecore, and the way was like you make it, you change your website to have each of the component as a separate fragment, and there is a way to get the HTML of each of the component in your site. So it does work with Sitecore.
How is this different from making a component or Visualforce page that connects with REST to another web service to fetch the contents? And why should I use this instead?
So Visualforce, if the question is about using iframe, so our feature is much more than iframe, along with the security features that's there with locker service. Like iframes are not allowed with locker service. The CMS Connect is quite responsive, like it can work based on your form factor, whether it's desktop, mobile, or any tablets, along with a lot of support that we are providing in the rendering of the content. Like a lot of optimization is done for the header and footer load time, like it gets loaded before any other content in the page. So it's much more powerful than using Visualforce.
Is it possible to use the federated search with Drupal content?
Yeah, it's possible.
Great.
They have native support for open search protocol, and that works good with federated search.
And federated search is only for post or JSON alone, right? It's not for HTML, just to add to Shipra.
Can this be used with Salesforce Community's mobile app?
Yeah, it's responsive enough. So if you configure it, it will work with mobile app as well.
Are there any restrictions on CMS content working in specific communities templates?
No, it's exposed in all of the Lightning communities.
Great. And last question, how can CMS Connect enable responsive layout if the CMS HTML response doesn't?
CMS Connect HTML response is also responsive, like the header footer will load fine if in external system the style sheets are made to be responsive for the form factor. Even our HTML is responsive, and along with the JSON thing. Yeah, the main takeaway is the style sheet and the external system needs to be developed in a way that it is responsive, because we just pull the style sheet from external system.
And the final question, is this still beta or is it GA? If it isn't GA, what is the rollout plan?
That's a good question. So HTML feature is already GA, and JSON is going to be GA in the coming release. So in spring, we have HTML GA, and JSON is going to be GA in the coming release.
Great. Well, that concludes today's webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us today. If we did not get to your specific question, please reach out to us in the forum, developers.salesforce.com/forum, or you can go to the community tab and under community, click forum. Thank you everyone. Have a great day.